Okay, this is going to be a review of the records for November 310 November Delta, a 1975 Cessna 310R, serial number 310R-0128. This 1975 Cessna 310 was built for export and was exported to, it looks like, France and the Mediterranean. The logs are complete. Logs are complete, although they are in French up until 2009 when the aircraft was imported to the States. When the aircraft was imported back into the U.S., there was an application for an airworthiness certificate, which is documented here. It was reissued, an airworthiness certificate and an N number. The aircraft was repainted in 2017 with the black, silver, and white. So the logs are in French. This is the latest French logbook. When the aircraft was imported to America, the entries in the French log are in English. Here's an entry in 2009, and the annuals accomplished in the years after that, the aircraft being maintained, repainted, and the last entry log in the French logbook appears to be 2015. 2015 is the last entry in the French log in English, and then the logs pick up in an aircraft log number 2. This would actually be number 3. There's 2 previous French log books. And 2017, and the documentation for annuals going forward, changes to the aircraft, dynamic balancing and such, ADS-B installed. More annual information as the aircraft's been maintained. I got the aircraft in 2024. No, let's see, March 25. So that winter I got the airplane. I actually got it about December of 25. Let's see, December. So I picked the airplane up in February of 25, flew it to Alaska while it was still an annual, got it in the hangar, went through it and annualed it in March of 25. And here are the logs going forward. Removed the autopilot, it didn't work. Got the autopilot repaired, reinstalled. And here we're going forward with the logs for removing both engines and propellers for overhaul, and then reinstalling engines and propeller after overhauled. The last annual in March of 26, altimeter and transponder check. Autopilot reinstalled, had a problem with the autopilot, pulled it out, had to have another repair done, reinstalled in May of 26. So the aircraft logs are complete going forward. Engine logs the same. Engine overhauls noted in the engine logs. Documentation for engine overhaul with all the 8130 tags from various vendors for the overhauls of the engines. There were no propeller logs for the individual propellers, the Hartzell propellers that were installed when the engines were installed in France 10 or so years ago. They do not use, or they did not use, separate propeller logs, and reference propeller annuals and such in the French logs. I've appended these to the propeller log. I introduced the propeller log for each propeller going forward, so I backed it up with the logs, and then propeller overhauled by Dominion last year when the engines were overhauled, and then the annuals going forward. So propellers each have their own log at this time. Installation and modifications over the years. I found very little 337 information in the records, and I appended updated 337s to make the records complete. Garmin installation 337, propeller installation 337. That was under an STC, and the records were updated to show that. There should have been a 337 documenting that. JPI under an STC, updated 337 on that installation that was accomplished back in 2014. Let's see, a lighting system that was installed previously, updated 337 superior light panel that was updated to reflect the STC installed, and vortex generators installed in back in 2014 prior to the aircraft being weighed. New max ramp weight 5905 and max takeoff weight 5860. And that completes the 337s. Looking at the aircraft records from the FAA records and also the logbooks, I find no information in the aircraft exhibits, no major repairs from any damage. So I find no damage history in this aircraft. In compiling the records to our American standards and going back and documenting all of the items in the aircraft, I've begun to compile an aircraft equipment list for the aircraft and the engines. So hence we have an updated aircraft equipment list. Okay, that kind of completes the records overview. I'll next go out to the aircraft and get a detailed examination of the engine, Next I'll go out to the airplane and get some detailed examination of the wheel wells, wing lockers, tail cone, tail interior, nose interior, baggage area. We'll take a look at the landing gear and the underside of this Cessna 310. Of course, it's a tricycle gear, retractable aircraft. The gear is electromechanical, not hydraulic. The motor and sequencing module for the gear is behind the pilot's seat under the floor. Struts are inflated nicely and in good working order. Tires, good inflation, good tread left. I'll try to use a flashlight to get a good look into the gear. We'll see if this flashlight will work to illuminate. There's the nose snubber. Oh, I can see a hornet's nest up in there I have to remove. The gear well is in good shape. And looking aft in the gear well. Not sure if I'm illuminating it sufficiently. I'll try. There's a data plate. Nose gear area is nice and clean. Actuators are intact. Gear doors are not loose. I'll rotate here, and there's the up lock. electrical wiring, gear switches. We'll get a look at the left wing underside and the left landing gear. Main engine sump, various inspection covers, no leaks, everything's quite nice. And the left landing gear, a little bit of exhaust residue on the retracting door. Integrity of the gear door is good, nice and tight, hinges are good, tire inflation, all normal. Gear doors are sequenced through the gear retract mechanism. Strut extension, inflation is good. Inner gear door is closed and tight. The gear doors open first, gear retracts, and then the gear door closes. I'll try to use a flashlight up in the wheel well to illuminate the wheel well area. That line that comes down is the line for the wing locker fuel tank. It's a wing locker fuel tank feed. And there's the up lock for the left gear, actuating mechanism for the left gear, more actuating mechanisms for the left gear. Kind of do a slow pan best that I can. That line is goes to the sump for the wing locker tank. Okay, and kind of get a look at it. Here's the gear torque tube for the left main gear. Kind of get up into here and see if we can get some kind of a look up into the wheel well. To open the gear door, you have to partially retract the gear and disconnect the mechanism. But by partially retracting the gear, the first thing that unlocks is the nose gear, and we don't want that to happen. So once you get a good look into the left wheel well, and pulling back out, looking at the torque tube and the gear retract, everything is in good order. I hope this flashlight does good for being able to see things. Okay, coming in from the right wing. Right under wing is clear and clean. And right wing main tank sump. Going inboard. A little bit of exhaust residue on the gear door. Gear door is good. Right gear main strut properly inflated. Tire inflation looks good. Gear downlock mechanism right there, and downlock switch. Tires are in good condition, good inflation, no checking. Once again, I'll try to illuminate things with the flashlight the best that I can here. As I look up into the gear mechanism, there's the gear up lock, hydraulic lines down to the brakes, all pretty typical. No brake line leaks, no fuel leaks. All looks good. Fuel line for the wing locker tank. Torque tube for the gear track mechanism. There's the drain line for the wing locker sump tank, or the wing locker sump. Looking up, looking aft in the right wheel well, and looking inboard in the right wheel well, and looking forward at the right wheel well. Gear entry step is sequenced with gear retraction. When the gear retracts, the entry step swings up into the retract position. Let's take a look at the wing flap wells. The wing flaps on the Cessna 310 are a split flap. They are only used for landing. They are not used for takeoff. They are strictly a drag device. And you can see were cleaned extensively, and they're in excellent condition, and very little movement, very little play. And here's the right split flap. Airplane noise, don't you love it? Nice and clean. These flap wells behind the engines can be prone to corrosion from the engine exhaust, and as you can see, they are nice and clean. Good look at the nose locker. The nose locker is quite roomy. On the far side, below that sheet metal panel, is the Hartzell interior heater, combustion heater off of aircraft avgas. The max capacity for the nose compartment is actually 350 pounds, but if the heater is installed, you subtract 100 pounds. So the baggage capacity with the heater installed is 250 pounds. This would be the nose baggage compartment. Under the radome cover is the gyro for the gyro HSI in this aircraft. There is not a radar installed in this aircraft. I do not know if there previously was one installed. So view inside the left wing locker. The old ratty carpet was removed. Wing locker was cleaned up and reprimed. No corrosion. And new carpet installed. And the left wing locker. Both wing lockers, the locking mechanism works properly, remains in the up position, and new carpet in the left wing locker. This 310, of course, is a 6-passenger aircraft. The right rear seat has currently been removed to make room for more baggage. It's actually in the hangar. It's identical to the seat that you see on the left. The old carpet was pulled out. Floor was extensively cleaned and reprimed. Behind the aft panel is the empennage back in the tail section of the airplane. Notice the extensive zinc chromate priming. This aircraft came out of Cessna for export in 1975, and my understanding, when Cessna does that, they zinc chromate the complete aircraft. This is one reason that you look around, you find no corrosion in this aircraft. And there's actually just a small storage compartment for spares. And looking at the floor, a little dusty, but other than that, quite clean. Here's the autopilot servos and the computer for the autopilot, ELT, and it looks like it's due January 28. Looking at the tail of the airplane, nothing remarkable. The tail die down was damaged when I got the aircraft, so it has been rebuilt, reinforced. It's actually stronger than the original. Tail cone in good condition from this angle, and also you can see the tail cone in good condition. ADS-B, tail cone. I see one small patch on the trailing edge of the elevator. Looks like there was some hanger rash that was repaired at one time. Tail cone is good, and from the underside it's good. Can't really see into the elevator mechanism. Looking into the elevator mechanism and see all the bolts are secure. They look secure. And the rudder post in there looks clean without taking it totally apart. Alright, well, we've gotten a good look, a detailed look at some of the components in the airplane. Looks pretty good to me. As you can see, the airplane's opened up. They actually have a sun umbrella cover that covers it, plus there's reflective shades inside to help reduce any heat buildup or UV damage. And that's gone a long way, I think, to mitigate any problems. This 310 has a total of 200-gallon capacity. The tips are 50 each. Those are your mains. Inboard are ox tank bladders. They're 30 each. And then in the wing lockers, forward of the wing locker itself, between the wing locker and engine, is a wing locker tank. They're 20 each. So 200 gallons, a lot of fuel. Well, with 200-gallon capacity, if you fly Lena Peak like I do, which is really good on the engines at, well, let's say 10,000 feet, you know, you'll be getting 12 gallons an hour per engine. That's 24 gallons an hour total. That gives you a good 8-hour range with 30-minute reserve, about 1,300 miles, 170 knots. If you're cruising Richard Peak at that altitude, you're probably 28 to 30 gallons an hour, doing 180 knots, and you got a good 6.5 hour range with a 30-minute reserve. That's a 1,000-mile range. And if you really get up high, up 13,000 feet, Lena Peak, man, you can squeak almost 10 hours out of these things. at probably 170 knots still up that high. Very comfortable 310.